Hi, I'm James Vogel, the Bioprocess Institute, and this is Between Two Ferrules. Today we're going to have two guests from Eppendorf Bioprocess. Simon Wieninger, Head of Portfolio and Application, and Sebastian Selzer, Strategic Portfolio Manager. Please welcome them to Between Two Ferrules. We always like to try to get folks who are here visiting in the United States, so it's great to have someone who's visiting from Europe and seeing us here and helping us kind of see what's offerings out there and so on. So I know at Eppendorf Bioprocess you've been doing a lot of work in the cell and gene therapy areas. And then some of that's going into some software solutions and things like that. So maybe you can tell us some of the new options that are popping up or some of the work that you're working there at Eppendorf Bioprocess?
Sure. Absolutely, love to. So as you and some of the listeners might have heard, that we've just actually released a new software product which is called the BioNsight Cloud, and it's actually the first true cloud product within the upstream bioprocess space, right? And actually, so I was very happy that and blessed that I've been involved with the whole development, and it really is, it brings together from all the data that you basically create during your bioprocess runs into the cloud. And yeah, was super happy, and I was actually a little bit surprised because I can tell you a little bit that when we started the product, the development of the product, like roughly 2 years ago,
yes,
people are telling me, you're not going to have a cloud within the lab space. That's just not going to happen. And it's actually been quite good, I want to say.
Okay.
And I think during the last 2 years, so much happened. I think we all use cloud products so much in our daily life, also within our professional life, that there are still people who are a bit hesitant. I don't want to hide that, but it really is something that kind of popped off because the technology itself has so much potential and it gives you so much
power.
Yeah, absolutely. That people just want to use it, right?
Okay.
And that is so. And on the one side, I mean, it's obviously that we've developed the product based on Microsoft Azure. So it's really, we're using great American technology that is the most secure. I mean, who wouldn't build a better cloud than Amazon, Microsoft, Google? I think those are the top three.
Right.
And we're building basically our own security layer on top of that. So we use what they give us and we build on top of that. And I think we've built a great product.
So if one uses this product, it's all within the Eppendorf Bioprocess software. And then where are the data stored? Are they stored somewhere within an Eppendorf cloud-based system, or how does that work? And if it's too much detail, push me back. So.
All fine. So yes, so it's directly connected to our bioreactors, right? So it's basically plug and play. The only thing you need to do is get internet on the PC that runs our bioreactors, and then you're all set. And what we will provide is a what's it called? A tenant. You can call it an organization, whatever you want to do. It's basically, we manage for our customers the whole technology. It is stored on Microsoft servers, so all secure. Each company, each customer has their own what's called the tenant, and so the data is completely separated. There's no way that anything gets messed up. We don't have access to the data. Spoiler, I would like to, but I'm fully aware that we're not doing that right now. So it really is, each customer has access to their own data. We just manage that it works.
So you're giving more or less the house to hold the data are there, then they take those data and they bring them for their analysis, or it could be used by perhaps a third party or something like that to start doing the analytics.
Exactly, and the cool thing is you already can do the analytics within our product, right?
Okay.
So we've developed an application, as I said, it's called BioNsight Cloud, And the idea is really what we wanted to do. The goal was to create insights about the bioprocess, right? Because we're fully aware that all those great scientists out there, they know what they're doing. What they want is the data, and they want to analyze it, because that is what the true worth is, right? Afterwards. And so what we created is really a super sharp, fast UI where you can compare different data, right? So for example, you can compare data from a 250 milliliter run to a 50 liter run to a 2000 liter run. Basically, by the click of one button, you just align the data, you see the differences, you can then draw your own conclusions, right? So working on that. At the moment, we're really providing the customers with a tool to easily access and analyze the data. And yes, obviously, on the other side, it's that we also provide remote monitoring, right?
Okay.
So it's if you can be, I don't know, in the park, walking your dog on a Sunday, and you can check on your bioreactor and look that everything is fine. If it's not fine, you should still go in, right? And do whatever you need to do. But it really,
it lets you feel at home or at peace that you checked on it and
Yes.
it's doing well.
That peace of mind, right?
Well, we've all been there, right? And you come in, and in this room, I can tell you there's been a few times where I walked in here and there's water all over the floor. So, you know, it does happen, and those are things that occur. So the security for this, is it something that could be used in a GMP application too?
So we haven't developed it right now for GMP facilities, because we are fully aware that at the moment GMP facilities are a bit more hesitant when it comes to the whole cloud connectivity. So it's more tailored to the R&D and PD space, I would say.
Okay. You know, and we talked about this. I teach process control at the university, and it's amazing when you talk to the real people that are into cloud computing. The Department of Defense uses that almost exclusively. And they say if there was a problem with security, believe me, they would tell you, and as far as they're concerned, you're much more suited and much more secure with the cloud computing.
Actually, this cloud computing might solve some IT issues for our customers, because you stream the data to a secure location, and then the customers can access it from the site without remotely going into their lab, which releases the IT.
Oh, VPNs are one of the big entry points, things like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what we hear when we talk to customers. So I think that's where we have room for a lot of more cool features to bring.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And additionally, I always say, so when we talk to customers and someone is like, let's say, a bit hesitant about the general idea of a cloud, I always bring the same example, right? I'm like, let's say it's an online meeting we're having. I'm like, we're using Microsoft Teams, for example, right now. This is all cloud-based. Our whole conversation, all conversations you're doing about your products where you talk IP is all going through the cloud. So if you're trusting that, why not also trust it with your bioreactor data? Because, I mean,
sure.
I think there's a trade-off you can make. And I love your example with the Department of Defense, right? So if they're using it, I think our industry can do it too.
Yes, I would absolutely say so. Anything more on software application before we get into product quality and in general and things like that?
Actually, there might be one more thing. So with the cloud release, we actually now have the possibility to partner with a pretty cool company that we have been working with for, I would say, 3 or 4 years now. They're called DataHow, and they're a newer software company from Switzerland, actually built out of ETH Zurich, and they're really focusing on AI in the bioprocess space.
Okay.
And what we're going to do is that we have a direct connection between our cloud product and their cloud product, and customers will be able to directly push the data from one to the other. And DataHow is, they have a technology which is called hybrid modeling, where they basically combine classical statistical models with new machine learning AI, and they can do simulations of bioreactor runs. So what we're going to do is we push the data that you create with our equipment to their software, and then the user can the customer can do analytics within there. And yes, obviously, for sure, there will at a certain point in time also be a way back, right?
Okay, so data how is basically going to bring that knowledge and that machine learning into looking at the data for people if they don't have their own tools or ways to do that.
Exactly. So the idea is really to get down the amounts of DOE studies you need to do, right? So the aim that we're having together is to equip the customers with technology that they can be 30-40% more efficient, right? So really looking forward to that.
Excellent, excellent, great. Well, let's talk a little bit about product quality and some of the things like what we have in some of these products right here. And so on in general, and really bringing this technology to fruition for the cell and gene, kind of like getting that first GMP batch or things like that. So maybe you can tell us some of the things Eppendorf's doing to help people get that intro in.
Sure. So what I think the industry knows that this our single-use bioreactors that were introduced, I think, more than a decade ago, and I think they are currently, technology-wise, one of the top quality providers technically. So they can be used for a lot of processes, a lot of applications. They provide a true stir tank capability to our customers, and are very close to what the glass and the initial bioreactors were in the past. We also our customers can choose mostly between all sizes until 10 liter between glass and single use, which is a nice way of having, well, depending on your needs, you can choose which one to take. Obviously, it's it helps either in your efficiency in the lab or if you have safety concerns. So it's typical advantage of a single-use bioreactor combined with a true stir tank capabilities. And now we're trying to put them more in the CGT, in the cell and gene therapy space, but it's getting to, let's say, convince is the wrong word, but tell all the biologists and cell biologists out there that this is a real true enabler for them to scale their processes for their future endeavors and their future processes and products and therapies.
So basically going from a tea flask or something to this earlier, as opposed to waiting till we get to that stereotypical throw it over the wall to the engineers and hope you have something that's scalable.
So we have shown with a lot of cell modalities that it works. You can scale tremendously, be more efficient, study your process in a controlled environment, exactly with the data that we have done from the software. And the combination of process automation, single use, and digitalization brings now all these nice things together so that our customers can study and improve their and verify their processes so that they can scale through the volumes and then go, this is the 3 liters, we can go 10 and even 50 in a similar design. And then either the customer can decide to scale out or to scale up further. And we provide all the tools and software to do that.
Excellent, excellent. I know I've looked at a lot of the technical assistance papers you have, and it's pretty amazing all the different modalities that you cover, and your labs have done extensive work. I actually used them for my biochemical engineering class actually as case studies for the students, and it's really worked out. I guess if you were in charge, so to speak, and all, how could you direct somebody new with a new cell and gene therapy or whatever to get to here faster? What would be maybe some advice you would give them to start out earlier and be better prepared for where they're going?
I think that they can trust that it works. We have shown it works. They can scale. To a certain extent, they can ask us and we will help them. We have publications out there they can read. And
you have scientists, you have cell scientists, quite a few in your company.
And we have also a lot of customers who already published nice data in it. And there can always be more. In question, reach out to us, to the local Eppendorf representatives, or meet us at the conference or the trade show. We can show you how it works. And we are also looking into creating more data and showing comparability that we have also shown. I think transition from the existing 2D processes at the moment to 3D and suspension cultivation. It's a challenge. We won't deny that, but I think it's worth the effort. And the earlier you do it, the less challenges you have in the end. If you come to your commercial manufacturing scale, and also when the regulatory authorities ask you to show proof, efficacy, scalability, safety, all those things provide critical quality attributes and critical process parameters. You will need a controlled bioreactor system, a controlled environment, and this is what provides this assets.
And I think that is the key, is that controlled environment, because when the regulators come into the room, it's not just, okay, the cells produced the product, the cells did what they could, that's great, but how do you assure they weren't adulterated, in what ways up until then?
Yeah.
And so just to add on that, because that controlled environment that you're talking about, I think it ties perfectly together with the way how you can automate a bioreactor, right? That is what we've done for years and years on, right? So automation is basically at our core, and it's really something that we want to bring to that new exciting field of the CGTs, right? That we know how to automate a bioreactor process. That is our basically daily business, and so help you basically going from T-flask and then scaling all up, and automation there is the key, right? And as I said, automating bioreactors is what we've done all our life.
And we may have, the point is, automation is not only a robot in the lab, right? It's the software, it's the controllers, it's everything that helps you have a repeatable quality of your process. And that is, sometimes we forget about it because it's so obvious to us. And this is what we're trying to convey as a message.
You know what's interesting is some people say, well, in the small scale or in, these types of things, they perhaps don't need the automation like we have at large tanks, right? For the longest time, it was about, mass transfer, making sure you can get the KLAs, making sure you can get the oxygen and things like that. But I think this is where now, though, with PAT and process analytical technologies, we have the ability to test other things. It's not just pH and DO that we're talking about, right? What other things are you looking at? What type of sensors are you bringing in, or information?
One thing is the process quality, right? Or the process attributes. You need to control the environment of the cell so that the cell is happy and that it can prosper. This new cell and gene, or especially the cell-based therapies, require now more insights into the cell, also what the cell is doing. So we don't have everything at hand at the moment, but we do see our developments internally going more towards the direction to get more insights into this, be it via advanced process modeling and maybe also machine learning, but also adding new kind of sensors, either via partnering with people out there who already do it, integrating this in our solutions. And on the one or the other, we might have also some own ideas on how to optimize the processes. But that's
okay.
More to come.
More to come.
Excellent. Excellent. What advice would you give a young person coming into the bioprocess industry now? From your years of experience and kind of seeing what you've seen, is there something you would advise somebody now if they were coming out of university or wanting to come into this industry?
So one thing would be, don't be afraid of the automation part, right? We have you covered. It's about, you should focus on what you can do best and care about the biology, care about your process, and we will help you to take care really of that automation aspect, right? We have done it multiple times before. One example that I always like to give is, we have a solution which is graphical programming, right? So when we started years and years ago, we had normal scripting within our bioreactors. That kind of put people off because programming is still something that not most scientists, especially in biological field, feel super comfortable with.
Yep.
But we took Blockly, which is, let's call it a technology developed by Google to teach children how to code. And we integrated that now into our own software suite to really help you create your own ideas and make them feasible and testable within the lab, right? So that is really something where we're working on, and we want you to just focus on the biology, right?
Okay.
What you can do best, because so that would be mine.
Yeah, and it always depends where you're coming from university and where you're going. So if you're coming from biology side and looking into new cell therapies, don't be afraid of technology, and for the maybe challenge that it will be, as I said, it makes sense, and it's really worth doing it. And from the engineering perspective, if you're a bioprocess engineer, you need to talk to each other, right? So the biologist and the cell biologist need to understand that both are maybe right at a certain point,
Yeah.
and you need to figure out how to get it going.
Okay. Well, I think that's great advice. As we say here, the thing to focus on really is that the process is king or queen, and we're here to support it. As you said, these devices support the cell growth and help them prosper and be successful. And then it's really how did humans around that, or the technology around that, bring that together to help people make better medicines. Great. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming to visit us at Between Two Ferrules. And we look forward to seeing you again.